Hi everyone. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the device wipe functionality in Intune. Um, it's really important for a few different use cases. So the most common one for us is, what happens if a device is lost or stolen? You want to make sure that you can wipe your organization's sensitive data off of that device to make sure that it can't fall into the wrong hands. There's a couple of other use cases as well, though, that you might want to consider. So maybe your organization allows users to take advantage of personal devices like iPhones, Android devices to access Outlook to get into their emails, for example. If that person leaves the organization, then you'll want to have a way to actually be able to wipe all of your data from their device without impacting their personal stuff. Intune can help you there as well. Because, fun fact, if you don't wipe it, then your data could persist on their device even after they leave, which is a problem. Beyond that, a couple of other interesting use cases for device wipe. So let's say that you have a fleet of laptops, you want to reissue a laptop to a different employee, you need to use the wipe feature so that you can remove the old employee's information from the device before giving it over. And then even troubleshooting scenarios. So we've all seen it where the help desk spent way too long trying to triage an issue on a laptop, hours in some cases. Well, when you're fully leveraging Windows Autopilot and modern management inside of Intune, it just doesn't make sense to do that anymore. If you're spending longer than 30 minutes, 45 minutes trying to fix a device, just go ahead and wipe it instead. You'll save yourself a bunch of time. And provided the user has all of their data within OneDrive, then as soon as you do the wipe, the system will go back to ground zero. And when it comes back up and they sign in, all of their data and apps will just be there and available again. So let's actually look at how we would do that. So first of all, we're going to tackle some of the Windows device use cases. So we're going to start off by going into devices and Windows, and then we're going to pick a device, and then you'll see we've got a row of buttons along the top of the screen here. So specific to wipe, we're going to click on that, and you can see that it gives us a couple of different options. So wipe the device, but keep enrollment state and associated user account. This is likely the option that you would select if you were going to be wiping it for the purposes of just troubleshooting. You want to clear it out, the device has got an issue, let's get the user back up and running as quickly as possible. The second option that we've got on here is wipe device and continue to wipe even if the device loses power. So with this one, this is for that kind of lost and stolen scenario that I described earlier. This makes sure that, if that device comes online and even gets a little sniff of internet, it's going to be wiped regardless if the person that has it disconnects it again. And there is actually a third option, which is ticking none of the boxes and just simply clicking wipe. And in that scenario, that's for when we might want to reissue a device to a different user and just make sure that everything's kind of cleaned out of it. It might be going back into the stock room in the pile, waiting to be reissued. That would be the best option to select. None, and this simply click wipe. So beyond that, we've got our bring your own device type use case. Now, if we go to apps and then select the option for app selective wipe, we have the ability to create wipe requests. So if we kind of go into this process here, and let's say in this case it's Jim Smith who has left the organization. Now, in this case, Jim doesn't have a phone, but basically their personal iPhone or Android device would show up here. And then it would just simply be a case of clicking create. And what that would do is it would send a wipe request to Jim's personal device, but it would only wipe the apps that have corporate data in it. So when you kind of fully leverage Intune and conditional access for a bring your own device use case, such as someone's personal phone, generally speaking, you would have it set up so that you can't sign in using things like Apple Mail or Thunderbird or any other client, but you can only sign in using the Microsoft Office apps. When you've got the Microsoft Office apps in play, they leverage something called an app protection policy. And basically, what that does is it creates an encrypted container on the device so that all of those company managed apps and the data within them are kept in that encrypted container, separate from all the user's personal stuff. That works on both, iPhone and iOS. Um, Now, with that said, having that infrastructure in place means that when you send a wipe request, it will only wipe the things that are inside of the encrypted container, so all your sensitive data, and it'll leave everything else on the user's device alone. So yeah, those are some different options for managing device wipe within Microsoft Intune.